You're listening to the Art of Making Home podcast with Sandro, a home builder with over 37 years of experience in the industry. This series shows you the construction industry from the contractor's perspective, as well as what it's like to work with the many different types of industry experts, such as interior designers, architects, and subtrades. In addition, we'll be discussing challenges that we have encountered and what other industry professionals can learn from those stories. We'll be covering such topics that many people do not consider before building a home. Like, what can your property actually allow? Is your property located on a steep hill? Where is the location? What will the municipality enable you to construct? It might not be as cut and dry as you think, so let's get the conversation started.
Hello, beautiful people. It's Sandro, and so glad you can join us today. We are going to talk about energy retrofits and also some energy incentives for new homes as well. But first of all, people may not know what an energy retrofit is. So basically, you're going to be upgrading, and we're talking about existing buildings when we talk about a retrofit. So that's just restoration, energy upgrades for an existing building, whether it's commercial or residential. You can do it to either building. So that's basically what energy retrofit is. So then once you start getting into the building, so what are you going to do? So you want to do some stuff. You want to save it or save some energy. So there are incentives from Fortis, both for new homes and the energy retrofit program. Just a couple of things. When we talk about emissions from, buildings, and I guess, everybody's talking about climate change and all the weather patterns and severity of wildfires and stuff like that. They want to do something about that or try to make some changes to the way we consume energy. 12% of the BC emissions are from buildings. That's a pretty big number. So we're talking residential and commercial. We're probably at the higher end of homes that you live in actually consume more energy than just your standard smaller building because people are living in them. They're using heat and hot water and all the rest of that stuff that takes up a lot of energy. So let's just talk about the energy retrofits. You have to get an energy advisor involved in the program because that'll get you started on the right path because these guys deal with, finding the right kind of fit for your home. And you probably might ask, well, how do I know my home is good for a retrofit? So if your home's probably at least 25 years old and you haven't really done a whole lot to it, then you are perfect candidate for a deep energy retrofit. That's a good place to start right off the bat. There are a lot of certified energy advisors in the Lower Mainland because that's what we're talking about right now. But in BC in general, there'll be lots out there that are certified with Energy Star. And they can get you on the right path as far as getting, the right requirements and the things that you need to do where you're going to get the most improvement from your deep energy retrofit. So, your building envelope is huge. That's your roof, your windows, your doors, your siding. You can deal with a lot just in that spot, but you're dealing with a lot of extra cost if you're going to be doing the whole outside. So I guess you just have to find your comfort zone. But that's probably you're going to be able to get, 40, 50% of your energy savings just out from those walls, insulation and air tightness just on your envelope. It's a huge deal there. And then you get in your heating system, ventilation system, replacing windows. But you really do need a plan with an energy advisor. Come up with a plan to start it. Because if you all of a sudden, start sizing your furnace to say you have a furnace that's, consuming quite a bit of energy, an old gas guzzler, and you're going to replace it with the same size furnace, and then you all of a sudden start to replace your windows and your doors after that, then that furnace is going to be way oversized for what you're doing. So I think you have to start with your envelope and kind of work your way in, get a better, insulation and better air tightness, better windows, all that stuff will help you kind of reduce the energy that you need inside to keep the house warm. We consume a lot of energy. Most of our energy consumption in a home is from heating and hot water. That's a fact. So that consumes probably a good chunk of your energy consumption in a home. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but it's probably like 75% of it comes from heating, hot water. Use a lot of energy during the winter months, especially. And we talk about the air conditioning and people with older systems, AC systems that consume a lot of energy as well. because basically they wanted to get some cooling, so they didn't do anything. They didn't change their windows, didn't do any insulation, didn't do any kind of energy upgrade whatsoever. Put this massive AC unit in their house, and you're just pushing air out your walls because it's got nowhere to go and you got holes everywhere. So the AC will continue to run like crazy, and you're really consuming a lot of energy. That's why, again, deal with the building envelope was probably your best bet and best money spent to deal with like your windows, your doors, your siding, if you can put more insulation on it. Some of the older homes actually had zero insulation in the interior walls. So what we do, we use blown insulation. We drill 2-inch holes at the top of the stud cavity, and then we fill that whole stud cavity with blown insulation. And blown insulation is like little bits, and so it'll fall all the way down. It doesn't usually get hung up on anything, and you can fill that cavity up. So it's a great way of doing it. Then you just got a 2-inch hole, to fill in. The drywaller's got to fix it, but it's a great way of getting, a lot of bang for your buck on insulating a wall that has zero insulation in it, right? And then, of course, if you're putting exterior insulation, and that's going to cost you more money because you're dealing with your siding and the rest of that after the fact. But those really are keeping the air tightness. If you can keep the home really airtight, that's going to save you so much money, and you can downsize your heating equipment and cooling equipment. You don't need a big honking furnace. When we talk about the building envelope, it basically is your roof, the walls, windows, roof, and doors. It separates the inside from the outside. It's like a skin, and a lot of times when we talk about that, I use the analogy of Arc'teryx, the company that makes the jackets. Like they have jackets that are super thin, but they keep you super warm. Like it's just a good quality. It's almost like having Sega house wrap on it as opposed to just a regular building paper. That's a well-insulated home. I like the high-performance system is run like that. So you don't necessarily have to use something like that, but I just find if you're going to go to the trouble of doing a retrofit like that, you need to continue to use good products. I find it's worth it at the end, because then it downsizes again your systems on the inside, so you're saving money and you're not using bigger systems or as much energy. Other benefits also from doing this retrofit is that the interior comfort, your comfort level goes way up. I'm sure everybody's experienced in some of these older homes where you have cold spots and hot spots, and it's just really you don't know like from the next minute whether you should have a t-shirt on or a coat on. So what this does by again, we're dealing with the envelope, and that it makes the interior space much more controlled and not the hot spots, cold spots. So it's much more comfortable. And also, we are talking about mechanical systems too, in that we're not just talking about the envelope and mechanical systems. So you're dealing with HVAC. So that the HVAC is for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So ventilation, and I say if anybody's going to be doing a retrofit, definitely use a HRV. I prefer ERVs, which HRV is a heat recovery ventilator. ERV is an energy recovery ventilator. So they work a little bit differently. And I find that the ERVs deal with humidity much better than an HRV does. So that's why I prefer ERVs. And with that in mind, you have superior indoor air quality. I know people that, like there's always people with asthma or even just allergies and stuff like that. That's gone when you have an ERV. It's gone. It filters all the air out of the house, and you can pump that through the whole house, and it's in your bedrooms. And so you're dealing with fresh air all the time, and it keeps your humidity in your house. So you don't have, like there's times when you feel, like you're sweaty almost in the house sometimes. Again, the ventilation is not working well, or if it's working at all, a lot of places just have a furnace. So, and they're only pumping heat in the wintertime. So otherwise you got nothing air moving whatsoever in these houses, and they're actually not good for your health at all. This will help you physically, your health. It'll keep you more comfortable, and it'll save you energy. When you do the retrofits, well, cost savings for sure. It's going to cost you going into it, but you will save money on your heating. Like it's just plain and simple. You'll save heating, like again, your gas and your electricity. You're going to save huge on that end of it, and it's better, way better for the environment. The less you consume, the better. The way they're building, some of these systems, like they're pretty good. So you get actually a longer lifespan out of these newer systems. If you build a house and with, like we talked about the envelope and with insulation, all the rest of that stuff, they're just building things better that way. As far as like the window qualities, they last longer. They're more durable, which helps out a lot. So you can get a longer lifespan out of that equipment. The retrofit program. So Fortis BC, again, has a retrofit program. And of course, you have to get an EA, which is an energy advisor, and you can look them up. And you can get on Fortis BC on their website. I think we will hook up a link here so you can get on to Fortis BC, and then you can sign up for those and you can see what the incentives are. So again, I'm not an expert on the incentives, but there is, a lot of incentives, cash back. We're talking about thousands of dollars. We're not just talking like $500 or anything like that. So there's thousands of dollars worth of rebates that Fortis will give you depending on what it is that you're going to be doing. So here are some of the Fortis rebates. They say that you can access up to $100,000 worth of rebates. And then you have your windows, your ventilation system, your heating system, walls, insulation and air tightness, roof insulation. Those are the ones that count, and those are the ones you can get rebates on. And we'll stick the links in the podcast description. So if you guys want any information and you want to talk to like the builder, as well as that, I know energy advisors that do this, and I work well with them. Give us a call and talk to me a little bit about that, and we can kind of get a plan together for you. And I just want to say thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. Have a fantastic day.
You're listening to the Art of Making Home podcast with Sandro Stefanucci, a home builder with over 37 years of experience in the industry. This series shows you the construction industry from the contractor's perspective, as well as what it's like to work with the many different types of industry experts, such as interior designers, architects, and subtrades. In addition, we'll be discussing challenges that we have encountered and what other industry professionals can learn from those stories. We'll be covering such topics that many people do not consider before building a home. Like, what can your property actually allow? Is your property located on a steep hill? Where is the location? What will the municipality enable you to construct? It might not be as cut and dry as you think, so let's get the conversation started.